I'm Nicholas Reed. Welcome back to the Sooner Saloon. I'm here with Emerson Campbell, and we have a special guest tonight, Malik Moon. I work with Malik. He's an Oklahoma fan, and we're going to break down some NFL Combine, go over some recruits of the 2023 class. But first things first, I want to say that Oklahoma has announced their spring game. It's set for April 23rd. Baker Mayfield's Heisman Trophy statue will be revealed on that day. We're hoping to go to that, and we hope to see you there. Hopefully we can do an interview with you, so say what's up to us. But Emerson, Malik, let's talk about NFL Combine and the results of that. So Emerson, what do you got? Let's start with you first.
Yeah, so first of all, welcome, Malik. Glad to have you on the pod. We've been trying to get him on for a couple weeks now, so it's very exciting to have you on. Thanks for giving us your time, Malik.
Thank you, brother.
No problem. First thing I want to say is Oklahoma, they did not win the Big 12 championship last year. They didn't even compete for it, but they still have 11 players that went to the Combine. That expect to be drafted. The second highest in the country, tied with Alabama, second only to Georgia. So, and both those teams played in the national championship. So you got to kind of be wondering, basically how did Lincoln Riley blunder such a talented class? Because like we said, this was a national championship or bust kind of team as far as the expectations going into the season. Anyway, you can be salty about that all you want, but it is what it is. It's unfortunate. But, yeah, I think a lot of players really showed out at the Combine and really helped their draft stock. Some notable ones that I want to go over. Perion Winfrey, my guy. I've been a big fan of him ever since he committed to Oklahoma. I thought he was going to do really good things. He ends up running a sub 4.9, which is pretty good. Official time was a 4.89 in the 40, which is really impressive. That's the only measurement that he got. I don't know why, but only Jeremiah Hall did the bench press. I don't know why no one else did. Kind of weird, but whatever. But Perion Winfrey, if you look at his tape, he's got an extremely quick get-off, and that kind of speed, that straight-line speed, that 4.89, it doesn't really come into play that much with defensive tackle, but it does just give testament to his athletic prowess and how disruptive he can be. So that really stood out to me. Nick Benito running a faster 40 time than Brian Asamoah as well. Nick Benito ran a 4.54. Asamoah ran a 4.56. So both really good times, but Nick Benito just showing how impressive he is as that speed rusher off the edge, showing you that he really does have that elite speed at the defensive line position, outside linebacker, wherever you want to put him. I think the big thing with Benito is just going to be he obviously looked really good at the Combine. It looked like he's been putting on more weight. He's been hitting the gym really hard. So hopefully he can keep that up and maintain his strength. I think a lot of NFL teams will be really excited or really interested in those two, as well as Isaiah Thomas. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Emerson, I got to agree with you with Perion Winfrey. I'd say he's first, second round talent, no doubt. His prospect grade is a 6.19, which is backup but starter material in the future. But I don't know. I think it's easy to get caught up in those gradings coming from the Combine because if you just strictly look at game film, I think it speaks for itself for a lot of these players. Nick Benito, another guy, that you mentioned. I'm high on him. I also think he's second round. I could see him going first round, but I think he'll follow the second. Ran a tremendous 40 time as well as Perion. Had a great vertical jump. He's very athletic. That's one of his strengths. Uses his hands well, great change of direction, gets off the blocks well to make the tackle on the ball carrier. I also thought Brian Asamoah ran a good time as well, and he's also put on some weight. I think he's weighing in about 226 range, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see where these guys go. Kennedy Brooks is one of those guys who, you just look at the tape. It's his patience and it's his ability to shed tacklers that really jump off the tape. It's so easy to get caught up in all this combine testing material that teams are looking at, but nobody really jumps off the charts as in a high grade. The grading, the perfect prospect is like an 8, and most of these guys are sitting about in the 6.2 range, 6.1 range. But yeah, it's going to be exciting what they can do at the next level.
Agreed. I think just with I think there were like maybe 2 players that could go in the first round potentially, being Perrion and Nick Benito. Just because, and maybe Isaiah Thomas, he tested pretty well, even though he is, a little lighter. He did show that he could play in the interior of the defensive line throughout the season. But I think those guys could have the potential to go in the first round just based off team needs and based off their value. It's really hard to get productive defensive linemen and edge rushers in the draft, and that's one of the positions that they value most. So I think those 2 could be the probably only first round talents. But yeah, like you said with Kennedy Brooks, I think he's not going to test nothing that he tests in the combine is going to jump off the page at you. You're just going to have to look at the film and see how his vision is, just otherworldly. And this year especially, he was able to shed a lot of blockers, shed a lot of tacklers, shed a lot of arm tackles. So yeah, Kennedy Brooks, he's just an on the field prove it kind of guy.
Also,
Malik, who stood out to you in the?
Well,
in the
I want to say one thing. Keep in mind with Kennedy Brooks, if he stays one more year at Oklahoma, he's probably going to be the all-time leading rusher with rushing yards.
Easily.
So go ahead, Malik.
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
about to read off because what the NFL wrote about Kennedy Brooks, about his combine experience. They said Brooks will be knocked for a lack of suddenness and explosiveness, but may end up becoming a more effective NFL runner than evaluators expect. He's a tempo-based runner with an ability to switch gears inside the run when needed. He has an adequate size and vision, but really impresses with his ability to maintain space from defenders as the run progresses. He's not a home run hitter or a physical finisher and is unlikely to offer much third down value. Brooks' smooth, subtle running style can be taken for granted, but is perfect for outside zone teams looking to add competition. He's an RB2 with upside. I mean,
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah.
For going straight into the league, I'd say that's fair.
if he's going to go into the league, I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that too. But
I think that's a really good evaluation of Kennedy.
yeah,
It's fair. But I mean, he averages 8 yards a carry, and you got to think, okay, he's had 3 1,000-yard seasons, and he hasn't been the feature back. He split time every one of those seasons. I mean, if you want to look at statistics, go look at the proof is in the pudding as far as that. That's very, very impressive. So, I think that's one thing that NFL evaluators and scouts will take into consideration. Obviously, he's a running back. They evaluate them as a pretty low, value. So, I wouldn't expect him to go super high in the draft, but definitely a really solid steal in the 3rd or 4th round for a team that can use him properly.
Yeah, and for me, putting Perrion in the first round, you also have to take into consideration how well he was raising eyes at the Senior Bowl. I think he was named one of the MVPs of that week as well, and he has great size and just the ideal defensive tackle. I mean, he hasn't even scraped his potential within the Alex Grinch scheme, and I don't want to fall back on that too much because these guys weren't straight up just bullying the offensive tackles. They were following gap schemes that they were told to from the Grinch scheme. So if they go out there and just dominate the man in front of them, I think they would have had way better years and way better film to provide, really.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I like that you brought that up because Perrion talked about it in his interview on the Oklahoma Breakdown podcast with Gabe Eichert and Teddy Lehman. that was just Grinch's scheme. Was they're going to run a lot of stunts and try and confuse the offensive line, and that works to an extent. But at the same time, if you're Oklahoma, you're going up against almost every other team in the Big 12. You're going to be more physically dominant as far as athletic talent in the line of scrimmage. So you just need to let that show and let those guys go to work. And I think Perrion and Isaiah Thomas and Nick Benito, they're going to go through that with teams in the interview process. I think the interview process is a really big part of the combine that a lot of people don't take for granted because we don't get to listen to what they say. Those are private meetings. So I think if those guys can explain that, then teams will understand, kind of better ways to utilize them. And that could up their value. Another guy that stood out to me was Delarian Turner-Yell, DTY. I mean, he ran a 4.47 officially. Really good time. Played a lot of ball at Oklahoma. I mean, he was a 4-year starter. He's played probably 50-plus games. And he is physical at the point of attack, and he knows how to run, Phil, and that is what NFL teams like in the back end. So I think he could be another good pick. And with Trey Brown and Trey Norwood, they were both late round guys last year, and they ended up being starters in the NFL. And I saw them make plays on Thursday nights and Sunday nights in big games.
They have produced.
Yeah, exactly, and that just goes to show, hey, Oklahoma's back end is getting better, and they do have some guys that can produce. So that's a good sign for Delarian, for sure.
Yeah, and some of the strengths for Turner-Yell through this combine that they have put out. Like you said, Emerson, he's a 3-year starter in this system. He's able to sink his hips and transition well, as in turning, because that's huge. You get some speedy guys out there. It's NFL. It's a different league now. Anticipates routes well. Very instinctive responses to playing over the top. He kind of proved that. He had some nice plays. He had I want to say he led the team in interceptions this past season. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say he was the top guy there.
He definitely had a couple. So
yeah. I want to say he had in the about 4 interceptions range. He has the perfect size and strength to be an NFL safety as well. So that's just something to look at. So.
No, I want to talk about a small tight end that came from Oklahoma in this draft, Jeremiah Hall. 6'1", 239. He's kind of on the smaller side, but 40-yard dash for 4.9, 225, 19 reps. I mean, he's a smaller tight end, but he's there. I mean, they project him to not be the greatest, but who knows? I kind of like his stature. I kind of like his size. It's getting there. He's not the quickest there is, but I think he could do it.
He also has that ability to catch the football, too, because he's
Yeah.
made plenty of plays, and he always lowers the shoulder, and he's just very physical. He's thrown some really good blocks, too. I know in the Texas game that was huge. He was one of those guys that provided some gaping holes for Kennedy Brooks. He's definitely a smart player, and he provides good leadership as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point with Jeremiah Hall. I mean, like you said, yeah, he's a little bit on the smaller side, and a lot of his numbers aren't going to jump out. But he's a smart football player, and he has played, like Malik said, he's played tight end. He's played H-back. He's lined up in the backfield and taken hands off. He's caught balls out of the backfield. He can do it all. He's an offensive Swiss Army knife, and he's a really smart player. And I definitely think there's value for Jeremiah Hall. Tight end, H-back, fullback kind of combo is the value isn't super high in the NFL as far as the drafting is concerned, but the film speaks for itself, and I could see him going third to fifth round range for sure.
Yeah.
I will say also, Michael Woods, he had some really, really nice catches during during his combine. He had some really good, like CeeDee Lamb-esque, contorting his body, finding the ball, when it's over his shoulder, kind of like off the mark, off the target. So, yeah, I think he did a really good job, and he's got really good size and physicality that you'll see in his film. So, I think Michael Woods had a good showing as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Tyrese Robinson, he played tackle for us this past season, but he's going to be playing guard where he belongs. They're not, him and Marquise Hayes, they're not going to blow you away with 40 times. That's not what you're looking at in this combine. There's no point to look at that. But it was the footwork for Tyrese Robinson that was really catching the eyes of some of these scouts, that are watching him. And that's huge because when you're asked to step up at a tackle position and play a spot where you're not used to playing, it shows a lot about your character. So for him to get into this guard position, show his talents, that's big. I heard he had a really good day in that showcase. And yeah, that's just huge for him. So I'm excited for those guys.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely helps, he's playing out of position. NFL teams like that, they like offensive linemen that are versatile, especially if they're not, day one left tackle, kind of guys, like a franchise kind of guy. They like that versatility. They like that intellect, that football IQ to be able to play, 4 out of the 5 spots on the O-line. So really good value there, if he goes, day 2 or 3 kind of guy.
Yeah, so since this is my first day on the Sooner Saloon, I'm going to pull it off just a little bit. Did you guys see Devontae White, or Wyatt, I'm sorry, from Georgia?
Just
big dude,
absolute
mean
speedy
guy.
40 time.
4.7.
Wasn't he run like a 4?
He's 6'3",
4'7"?
304.
That is ridiculous.
4'7". Oh my
That's
goodness.
not human, man.
Grown man running a 40.
No
I
one
heard
that
he
size.
lost weight too, like for the combat. Like he slimmed down a little, and I'm like, oh man, he slimmed down. That's a big boy. Yeah, very impressive athlete. It's no wonder Georgia won the national championship.
Shocker.
And I mean, he was surrounded by dudes on that defensive line too. So yeah.
Well, guys, let's talk a little bit about the junior day recruiting for Oklahoma and some of those guys that showed up, because that's part of the 2023 class, and expect Oklahoma to take a big jump defensively, of course. As long as Jeff Lebby can stay with Oklahoma, I'm sure he's going to be the next big guy to jump out as a head coaching job. But just some big names for this 2023 class.
Oh snap! Sorry. Well, yeah, I know that they had a huge junior day over the weekend, and they got a lot of really good guys showing up on here. Edric Hill, D lineman at a North Kansas City. 4-star kid. Colton Vasic. He's an edge rusher, 6'6", really good height, 230. He's out of Texas, Westlake. Another 4-star, very exciting. So, I mean, and if you look on here, I mean, they probably got 15 guys. The biggest name is the 5-star running back, Richard Young, over the weekend that came. 5-star, so obviously he's very talented. Out of Lehigh Acres, Florida. He's number 1 running back in the country, according to the composite, and according to 247, he's 33 ranked player nationally. So that would be technically like right outside the 5-star range, literally 32 5-stars in each cycle. So yeah, really and this is just a testament to how big of a name DeMarco Murray is for Oklahoma and the offensive staff. I mean, he played in the league, not too long ago, and he was really productive. And I think kids still remember, oh man, DeMarco Murray, he was a stud, and he played at Oklahoma, and then he went to the Cowboys and ate. He was a beast. So I think that's really promising for the staff. And I think it was really smart by Brent Venables to maintain DeMarco Murray.
Oh, yeah,
you just keep
definitely.
seeing,
Definitely. And I think he was the rushing leader. I know he has at least one rushing title in the NFL under the Cowboys. But, I mean, in the 2022 class, I mean, you get Gavin Sawchuk, you get Javonte Barnes. Those are two top 300 guys that you get on your team. And, if we don't keep DeMarco Murray, I'm not sure if we get that.
Yeah. And even when he came in and came onto the staff, he almost secured Jace McClellan. No, wait, I can't remember it. That's the wrong name. I can't think of the other guy's name. But I mean, yeah, DeMarco Murray, he's proven himself on the recruiting trail, and I think it's only going to continue to get better as far as running backs go. So definitely very exciting.
So I'm going to bring it random off topic. Signed to Oklahoma. Hayes, Kansas. Where this kid's from. Jaren Kanak.
I'm glad you brought that up.
All around athlete. Don't know where he's going to play just yet, but he signed for Oklahoma. I think he's the next big thing. I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah,
You're spot on that because he's ridiculously talented. To say the least.
Did you see his pictures? You know how they take like the pictures in the uniform on Twitter? He doesn't look like a freshman.
No,
he looks like he's like NFL ready, man. He is a big kid, really filled out and developed physically.
You guys, he is gonna play linebacker, and he has state track speed. Okay,
all around.
His 100 time is off the charts. I think it's 10. I want to say it's like a 10.36, something ridiculous. And if you cut that down, his 40 times like a 4.39 in that area, which that's so studly. A freshman? Are you kidding me? In high school? Just coming out of high school? This kid is going to have so much talent. It reminds me of an Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. Brent Venables coached, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy to see him develop. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, Malik. That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And if we want to get into the 2022 class a little bit, we can absolutely, because it is really promising. And Jaren Kanak, he could be a stud. And obviously, Kansas high school football is not the greatest in the country. It's not the most impressive. It's not the most competitive, obviously. But Oklahoma has a history of finding really good players in Kansas and developing them. And hopefully Jaren Kanak can be just another one of those guys,
To me, his highlight film does not lie. Like, I saw a video of him trucking, literally 6 dudes in a row, running at a ridiculous speed. It was awesome. And when you're that fast and you're that big, that's something special, and you could definitely argue that he should be rated higher.
Yeah, to be 6'2", 210, and to be that quick.
Yeah,
that's a star in the making.
Well, what he had 20 plus reps on 225 on bench. What? So and like you said, he's a team player. He played offense his senior year at Hayes, and he ran the ball with physicality. And I don't care if you're on offense or defense. It's a mentality to hit people, So as long as he maintains that mentality, which I'm sure he will at the linebacker position, if that is where he ends up, I don't think it'll be an issue. And that with him and Kobe McKenzie next to each other and Danny Stutzman, it's a pretty good linebacking core right there that you got of young guys coming up. So
Now, Mr. Campbell, this is a personal question on a personal note. How do you feel about Hayes, Kansas, as a football team?
I hate Hayes with a burning passion.
Okay.
I don't think I'm from Great Bend, and so we Hayes and Great Bend are rivals. I'm sure a lot of Oklahoma fans don't know the ins and outs of Kansas high school football. So Hayes and Great Bend are rivals. They're about an hour away from each other, and I hate Hayes with a passion. They were even from Little League on, our team had never beaten Hayes ever. So not even through high school. So,
But kudos to this guy. He's made it out, and I hope he
well-
makes it to the stardom, and he will.
well, and I like just from guys that I knew in high school that were from Hayes. They have athletes. They have a lot of athletes in that town. I mean, there was a Triple Crown wrestler from Hayes. I mean, he was nationally ranked his whole high school career, and he played football too. And he was a stud in football. So Hayes definitely produces a lot of talent as far as Western Kansas towns go, for sure. Even though I hate him, I have to give him credit.
Hey, I will say, as a starter, I was 2-0 against Hayes.
That's my guy.
I'll say that.
Damn.
I mean, I'm sure if Jaren was playing it, maybe would have been a different story, but he wasn't.
Jaren, if you're hearing this and you want to talk some smack, get on the show. We'd love to have you on. Probably can't because NCAA rules suck, but whenever you get drafted, come on. We'd love to talk.
All right. Should we get into the next year's schedule, or do we keep going on? I mean, next year's schedule wasn't too big or different, as well.
If you want to bring up some games you're excited about, feel free, Malik.
Well, I was excited about the Nebraska game for next year, just cause.
Yeah, that's going to be an away game for us.
Nebraska wants
It
to
could be. It could be a trap game. You never know. I feel like
Don't forget,
Nebraska was,
got Casey Thompson in the transfer portal,
they did.
who can absolutely sling it. He tied Colt McCoy for the single game pass or touchdown record at Texas with 6 touchdown passes in a game they lost to Kansas. But still, he played well. So I mean, Casey Thompson can absolutely sling it. So yeah, I think that will be a very exciting game, Malik, and it's at Nebraska. So hopefully, the Big Ten won't screw over Oklahoma, Nebraska, and the rivalry renewal by putting it at 11 a.m. like the Big 12 did, which is why one of the reasons Oklahoma's going to the SEC, because Big 12 always screwed Oklahoma in that aspect. Anyway.
Yeah, and Oklahoma will be just fine in the SEC. They will be.
Agreed.
Still scared.
With that being said, I mean, there's kind of one more thing that I want to hit on, and that's Oklahoma playing Georgia in what it is the 2023 season, and it's in Norman. I think that's the game that we need to go to.
When did I didn't see that? When did that get announced?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude.
It is announced.
Are you sure it's in 2023?
It is next season.
Georgia
at home in Norman. Gotta be a night game. Gotta be prime time. I swear, if it is at 11 o'clock kickoff, I will be disappointed, to say the least.
I thought something else was coming out from that one.
If that does happen, that would be very exciting. I mean, talk about a measuring stick game to see how
Yes.
Oklahoma will do in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, going against
The best.
would you call Georgia the top dog in the SEC because they lost
No,
the
not
SEC
yet.
championship? But
No, not
won
yet.
the national
I would say, okay, come on, man.
I don't know how that
you
works.
you gotta go with Bama. You can't say
can't not
that
deny
Georgia
it.
is the best, even though they're the national champ. You gotta still give it to Bama. They are the top dog, and they are great, according to Brent Venables. We're really good, but we're not great yet. It's a progress.
So Georgia's the best. So Georgia was the best team in the country, but not the best team in the SEC. Is that how it works? Is that?
They redeemed themselves. They went 1-1, and they won the game that matters. So you have to give it to Georgia.
Beat Alabama. Yeah, you only need to beat Alabama once to win the Natty. I think that should be a rule.
You have to beat Alabama and then you're gold.
Oh my! A bunch of Texas A&M fans just got rock hard ragers hearing that. Whoa, we're national champions! Sit down.
All right. With that being said,
I was going to say Oklahoma Sugar Bowl versus Alabama.
There you go. We
We
beat
just
him with
got
Trevor
rock hard
Knight.
too, so,
We
I
beat him
mean,
with
we're
Trevor
there too.
Knight. He's like one of the worst
Trevor Knight
quarterbacks
rocked
that I've
him, so-
seen.
We're there.
Yeah,
Literally
glimpses are
Trevor
good.
Knight's career game. Career highlight of Trevor Knight. Yeah.
We can get
yeah.
into that in a different day.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, that's it from us. So, adios. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, fellas. Appreciate it. Love you, Nick.
Loved
Love
having you on,
Emerson.
Malik. We'll have to do it again sometime for sure.
Definitely.